Hello, people of the world. How are we doing out there, man? Freaking doing great over here. It's a Sunday. You know, man, day of the Lord. Sitting out here, getting our bearings for the day. Getting right with, myself and, everything, really. I've been house sitting the last week. Y'all may have seen the last episode. I wasn't at the SS Express, and I talked about, SS Express, the state of mind. But it's really what we're cultivating here in this ship, a vehicle of expression. The SS Express, this beautiful ship I'm in here. And I'm just happy to be home, man. It feels real nice. It feels real nice. Home is where the heart is, and home is whenever I'm with you. But yeah, man, I think there's something about your physical home, and it just feels nice. You do so much in it. You reside in it. You cook. You chill. You sing songs. You just walk around naked sometimes if you're home alone. Do whatever, man. But you're constantly reverberating into your home. And I think, hopefully at least, we got a good bit more positive experiences at home than negative. But when you walk back into your home, if that's the case, which, like I said, praying for all out there having a good time at home, but you walk in your home and you feel those reverberations come back, out the walls, out the light, out the, the floor, the carpet, because you put a lot of energy just constantly sending it out into your home. And, when you're sending that good juju out, you come back and you say, this is feeling all right. This is where I should be. There's a sense of safety. There's a sense of familiarity. There's a sense of, I can be vulnerable here because I'm so safe. You could be naked, like I said. You could speak from your heart, hopefully. You should be able to do that at your home. And if not, man, that's something to explore. What's going on? But yeah, I just wanted to... tune in, talk about a couple things going on. Buddy Fest coming up. Real excited about that, man. I think we need more just positive community events where we're coming together just to chill out. I feel like a lot of time I'm at an event, especially as we're getting older and we got all these responsibilities. I get it. You want to get back home to your dog or your kid that you left home because, a baby ain't going nowhere. You can just let him kind of hang out in the crib for a couple hours. Nah, I'm just kidding. But I get we got things to do, but I feel like, we don't just get to settle in with each other enough, man. It's always, oh, hey, how's it going? Do. Oh, actually, I gotta go. I can't actually tell you what's on my heart. And I feel like this hasty nature that we've come into because, before people just had a small little tribe and they're always together. They're always just chilling. But now we're all separate in our own little box. So we got to make a real effort to connect. But it's hard to, especially like, the worst version of that, like you go to the, store and you see someone or even someone you don't know and they say, oh, how's it going? Or, whatever. And you say good. You never pretty much almost always say good, regardless of how you actually are. Because you don't have time to get into it. How's it going? That could be a loaded question, man. There's a lot going on. You could be mostly good, but you could be like, man, I'm freaking tired of these, raccoons getting into my trash, making a mess in the neighborhood, making me look like I'm all junky because I always got trash in my yard, but it ain't me. It's the dang coons. So, there's a lot going on, basically. And I think we need more time where we can feel like we're settled enough with each other to say really what's going on. So schedule a time to hang out with your friends for too long, and not too long, but just right is what I mean. Figure it out, Don't schedule a 20-minute hang with your friend. I mean, if you got to, do that, and if you're just you both happen to be in town at the same time and you link up for a second, yeah, that's fine. But make sure you're getting that long form conversation in with your friends. That's real important. I think we're really lacking that because I feel like we got to simplify ourselves too much. I feel like I got to say who I am in one sentence, which, man, I just can't do that. I could sum it up, but you'll probably just think I'm crazy or not interested if I say, I'm just a, light being and, I'm not really different than you. We're all the same. That's how I'd sum it up real quick. But it doesn't really, I guess you could chew on that for a bit, but you want to know more if you hear that. Like, dang, you don't think you're even different than me, and you think you're just a light being? You don't even think you're a physical being? There's layers to things. I think that's true, but there's other stuff that's true too, man. There's a lot of elements. There's a lot that makes up the pie. Pie ain't just made of pie, It's made of everything that, made that pie. And you can't just, there's a lot of cooking shows, You can't just explain your whole recipe book to a person in 10 minutes. It takes time. Explain that recipe book. Explain your flavors. Explain who you are. Explain what you want. Explain what you're doing, where you're going, what your state of mind is, how your heart's feeling. There's a lot of things going on there, man. But yeah, I'm just real grateful to have my home and have it be a place where I can express myself, and hopefully I'm trying to make it a space where other people feel like they want to come in and just express themselves. I talked about the cacao and stuff like that. But yeah, home is a beautiful thing. And I love, the idea of, our inner and outer worlds being mirrors of each other. We think it's so different, our inside world and our outside world. And sometimes, our inside world is going pretty bonkers. And we're even creating made up realities to an extent. We get in all these hypothetical situations. Oh, Trish doesn't like me because, I lick my fingers after I eat, movie theater popcorn. We just make up realities sometimes. But I really think our inner worlds reflect in our outer worlds and vice versa. Oh, excuse me, I got something going on in my throat here. Man, my allergies really pick up in the fall. So it is September, 7th, I think, something like that. And fall is coming in, man. It's been real cool. I love it, man. I'm fired up. I done talked about the season some, but man, I could just go on and on about how much I love the fall. The seasons are just the perfect length to really keep us fired up, I think. At the end of every season, really except for fall and spring, because they're kind of like transitory seasons. But at the end of every season, winter and summer. At the end of half of the season, so I could let fall just keep on falling and spring keep on springing. That'd be cool. That just ain't how it works. But at the end of the winter, you're like, man, I really, really wouldn't mind a warm day at this point. And at the end of the summer, you're like, man, I really wouldn't mind a cold day. But when they first come in, they're always nice. You know, I think we like change. Well, we do and we don't, because, you know, we like to, it can be tough to get on rhythm when it's always changing, but you gotta, you know, learn how to tune yourself to them natural rhythms and yeah, I didn't even mean to get into that, but yeah, I love how just fresh it makes things feel. So fresh. I feel like it feels like a new year when fall comes. It's like, oh man, a whole new situation is upon us. And that's real nice. I like that a lot, man. Right now I got a pumpkin pistachio coconut beeswax candle burning right in front of me. And dang, that smells good. You know, candles are warm. They cozy up a room. I love a good candle. But you got to be careful with the wax that you're burning. Because, you know, anything you smell, man, is just a chemical that you're breathing in. Even if it smells good, you know, sometimes, you know, you might like Febreze, God forbid, you know, because they make it smell artificially clean. I was thinking about that the other day, man. I was at someone's house and they had a soap and it said clean scent or maybe fresh scent. And it did smell clean, I will say. But I thought, man, I ain't smelled this smell nowhere. I guess it was a little like floral was the vibe, but it's definitely even different than that. And I was like, man, when did this artificial clean smell? Who decided what clean smells like? I think dirt smells pretty clean to me, but you know, that's probably an unpopular opinion. You smell some good soil, man. Dang. That really invigorates your soul, man. Or a nice melon. You ever smell a nice melon, man? I don't know where this fresh scent came from. Gotta be flowers. That's the closest thing I can think of. Or like a creek, or like not just a creek, because some like low, slow flowing creeks can smell kind of bad. But like a fast, cold creek, man, like in Vermont, dang, that smells good. That smells fresher than the fresh scent. And that barely even smells like nothing. It's kind of just cold air, you know, mixed with water, I guess. But that's real nice. Yeah, I love fall. All the things that come with fall, man. I will say, though, pumpkin spice, yeah, it's dang good. But why the heck you only eating it in the fall, man? I'm eating pumpkin spice year round. Don't forget, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You know, man? You ain't gotta wait for no fall for no pumpkin spice. You can have that flavor whenever. Now, I do think it's funny, though. It makes me think of Thanksgiving meal. I do think it is funny. And there is something to it, I will say. So if you do like reserving your pumpkin spice for the fall, no hate there, but just don't forget that those spices are always available. But with Thanksgiving meal, I do think it's funny that there's this kind of unspoken respect for the meal. I ain't never seen nobody make a full Thanksgiving meal in July. You just don't do that. And it's such a good meal. So I think it's funny that people are savage, man, but there's this unspoken respect for Thanksgiving meal. We don't play with that, you know. I think that might be like most like the thing that there ain't no question about. I mean, man, are people making Thanksgiving meal out there I don't know about? Let me know if you're doing that. But I feel like no matter who you are, you know, red or blue, purple or orange, you're not making Thanksgiving meal unless it's Thanksgiving. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, man, all the things that come with fall are real nice. I got my slippers on, man. Slippers feel so nice. It's like a nice little, just, it's like like how your shoe hugs your foot, but there's a lot more care. It's like a family member giving you a hug, a real genuine hug. A shoe is kind of like, a stranger hugging you, and you're like, I guess we're doing this. It ain't the worst, but definitely had better, I love, cool nights. I was camping the other night. I was camping over at my Paul's place, where Buddy Fest is going to be held, and it was so nice having a cool night. We had a fire, and you just wanted to huddle around that fire. And man, fire stays one of the best things in this life. You just sit around it, stare at it. Fire's cool, man, because I was saying we don't tend to settle with each other too much. Fire really settles us down, because when it's cold out and there's a fire, you don't want to go nowhere else. You want to stay right there. So everyone just stays, and you can be silent too. That's the cool thing about fire, man. Fire's so good by itself. You can be silent and it ain't even weird. It's kind of like, yeah, we're all just silent. We love this fire. It's what we do. But yeah, I love the fall. I love getting cozy. I love warm meals, man. Some freaking French onion soup with a toasted sourdough. Get out of here, man. That's delicious. You know what I like to do? I like to get one of them pick twos at your local soup and sandwich joint. And get a pick two and get half a Sammy and half a soup and dip my Sammy right in that soup. Boy, I'll tell you, that's good. It's real good. But yeah, what else? What else is happening around? Just playing a little FIFA here while I chat with y'all. Playing as AC Milan because my boy Pulisic on the team. So I'm kind of getting into them. I don't really normally sway outside the English Premier League, but it's been nice kind of mixing it up, playing with the Italian team and seeing what's going on. I'm not doing so good, but I think I'm still figuring the team out. But yeah, man, there was something else I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, yesterday, or let's see, 2 days ago, because I wasn't home. I was out, and City Boy was here, and man, there's this copper pipe coming out of my water heater, and it's got like an elbow. It's kind of like, not corrugated, but ruffled. Maybe that is corrugated. I don't know. But like one of them black drain pipes, it's all ruffled. And man, it just started spitting out water because it's holding water coming out the water heater, and I don't know what happened. I just got a call from City Boy saying there's something leaking in the basement, and then he found where it was coming from, and this pipe was just spitting water. Just the tiniest little hole. And it seemed like, a ghost did it. I'm starting to wonder, man. I got to start talking to the spirits around here again and, seeing if they're all right. And if I could help them out, or if I'm doing something to piss them off. But yeah, entropy is what I ultimately wanted to bring up with this conversation, man. Things are just breaking down. That seems like such an unlikely thing to me. A copper pipe just all of a sudden getting a hole out of nowhere. It ain't underground. It's just in a regular room, and then one day it just starts leaking. I really wouldn't think copper would be corroding like that so fast. I think that'd take a long time. I mean, this house was built in '73. That's probably not even the newest water heater they have. It. I mean, the oldest is what I mean. It doesn't look 50 years old to me. But yeah, I got to change that pipe today because we just turned our water off, because if the water's on, it's, spitting out. And it's just like a little freaking thumbtack hole, man. It's so small, but it, makes a mess over time. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about entropy. Entropy is, like the breakdown of things. Everything is, always breaking down over time. And there's kind of an oscillation to it, things break down and then they rebuild. So something with real high entropy, I think it's actually like a measurement of how organized something is. So things become less organized over time. You experience that. You clean your room and then 2 days later it's messy again. That's entropy for you. It's getting less organized unless you put, work into it to keep it right. But what's interesting to me is, one, how I think that can help us understand our role here on earth as humans. I think part of our role, Jesus said, we're here to keep dominion over the land. And I think dominion doesn't mean dominate. It means, oh man, I wish I had my laptop. I've done look this up, but I forgot exactly. But it basically means to care for, It's not to dominate. It's to tend to care for, to keep the order, or to keep the entropy down. We're like entropy, it's a good word, controllers of sorts. We're like the cleaning people for the earth, just tidying and, making sure there ain't too many of nothing and such. But the cool thing is, so there's this idea of zero entropy, perfect order, and the thing is, mathematically, is what they say is, and I got some qualms with it maybe, that perfect entropy is unrealizable, similar to a whole number. And this is something you get into in quantum mechanics, and I'm gonna have my pappy on here one time because he's real deep in quantum mechanics and he really understands that well. But a whole number is, I'll just break it down a little bit for y'all. A whole number is a mathematical representation. So in reality, a whole number, according to quantum mechanics, does not exist. There's only fuzzy numbers. So think about it like this. If you're one person and I'm one person, that is a representation. It's an abstraction, because if you were to weigh us, we're going to weigh different. You're going to have more or less particles than me. So how are we both, that one is something we can understand, but it's kind of more conceptual than reality. It kind of just simplifies things. And even think about, say if you have a can of soda and you had a device that could, you had a device that could measure the weight of that can of soda to like, the negative like 10th degree, or however you say that, like 10 decimals back, you could weigh that. So with extreme precision is the point. 0.000001, it could measure all the way back to that. So real fine-tuned instrument. And if you were to measure 2 cans of soda, there's almost a 0% chance that they're going to weigh exactly the same. Every can of soda, is going to weigh slightly different. And I know it seems like I'm splitting hairs here, but the point is that's what quantum does, man. It gets down to the smallest level of things. And what's interesting is things start working different at that smallest level. So that's why I want to explore it here with y'all, so we can maybe try to understand the fundamental nature of reality just a little better. But so this idea of, so basically everything's fuzzy. Whole numbers are mathematical representations. They're not representing a reality. They're close enough that we can, make cars and do a lot of big things. But when you're working on the quantum level, they don't work no more. You're no longer adding +1 and +2. You're adding almost 1 and almost 2. And I know that probably sounds like it don't make no sense. And how could you do that? Plus almost 1 plus almost 2 is almost 3. Sure. But we need more precision than that. And there is a whole mathematical model that works in fuzzy numbers. And it's a lot more complicated than almost 3. I don't understand it. I'm not going to pretend I do. But I know that much. So a lot of math we need to understand is a representation of a reality. It's not always, and it's not always a perfect representation. But so the idea of zero entropy, I guess according to math, physics, isn't something we can realize, because in order to have perfect order, we need a level of energy that is just hard to come by. You can't get it. You need like an infinite number of energy to have perfect order. So I don't know. I kind of think, a cool correlation that feels right to me. And, I said I had some qualms with the whole it's not realizable thing. I kind of do think it's realizable. And I think humans are the key. And, maybe I'm wrong. I was talking about this with my Paul, and he said, you can have 99.999% entropy, but you can't have 100%. And maybe he's right in that what I'm thinking of as perfect entropy is so close to perfect entropy that I can almost taste it, but I can't quite bite it. It's like smelling a delicious pie in the other room. It's there. You're enjoying that pie from a distance, but you're not actually eating the pie. So that's kind of what the mathematicians think about entropy. But I kind of think this perfect order, this infinite energy vibe, aka zero entropy, is God, is the Lord. And I think the only thing that has All right, this is going to sound crazy, but I don't know. I'm feeling like there's something to it, so I'm going to explore it. I could be so wrong about everything, man. I don't care though, because it feels right now, and I'm going to keep questioning things, because that's what we should do here. We're here to just sail the seas and see what we're seeing and keep exploring. But I think dang, I lost my train of thought. Oh Lord, what was I saying? Zero entropy is the Lord. Oh yeah, I remember. There's a key sentence I wanted to say. I found it. Nothing has zero entropy except for everything. And that, like I said, I know that probably doesn't sound like it makes a whole lot of sense. But I think unless you include everything, the whole entirety of the universe, you can't be talking about zero entropy. And I think that as humans, we can feel such a strong connection to the entirety of the universe in a single breath that we can, and maybe, like I said, maybe it's 99.9% entropy we're experiencing, this perfect order, this perfect bliss. I'm kind of associating the perfect order with a sense of perfect bliss. And maybe that's erroneous of me, but I'm kind of thinking of it like there's no problems. Everything's going right. Everything is, there's nothing you want to change. It's a full embrace. And I'm kind of equating that to this idea of perfect order. Because, when things aren't in perfect order, when my room's messy, I want to change that. But when it's in perfect order, I say, man, this is just right. I could sit in this all day. And there's always, it could always be slightly, you haven't vacuumed all the particles, but it's close enough to experience, a pretty good sense of order. But I have this idea, that, the Lord is everything. The Lord, created everything. And I mean everything. There's nothing. You look under a rock, you find the Lord. You look under, a sock, you find the Lord. You look under, a lock, you find the Lord. I'm pretty sure Jesus said that. You find me anywhere, he said. And so I think you can't, in order to find perfect entropy, you need to stop looking so small. You need to look at everything. I mean, is infinite energy just a made up thing, or is like a concept that we can say and consider but not really realize, like perfect order? Or is the whole universe infinite energy? I mean, it sure is a lot. And there's a thing too, another thing I very, vaguely understand is the idea of all infinities aren't the same. And the way I think about it, I'm kind of just, watching videos and I talk to some scientists, but ultimately I don't really know what's going on, but I got my own ideas here. I think it's a matter of like potency, kind of. Like you can have an infinity with a higher potency in number, like you can have an infinity that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on to infinity, and that's a certain number of points. But you can also have an infinity that's 1, 1.1, 1.2, so it's kind of a even more precise, or it's just a denser amount of points. They're more close together. Um, but yeah, I think this idea of entropy being, thought of as the Lord is pretty cool, man. I'm really feeling that perfect order. And what's interesting too is I think there's this paradox of understanding that, chaos isn't necessarily not the Lord. But it's like this embrace of the chaos and the order that allows for a sense of order. And that feels like, kind of a Taoist thought to me. Like, you embrace the dualities in a way that you realize they're two sides of the same coin. So then, therefore, it dissolves the duality, and then you're experiencing a unity consciousness where there is no this or that. It's just this. Man, I got the hiccups. My allergies are, coming in. I got some fall allergies for like 3 weeks. They hit me hard. I just basically sneeze a bunch. Right now my throat's a little something, but yeah, man, I think I don't know if I heard no one else talk about that, so I just thought it was pretty interesting. I'm almost about 40 minutes, so I think I'm going to tune out here, but let me know what y'all think about that. Am I losing my mind, or am I on to something here with zero entropy being, God energy? And, I think when you achieve God consciousness, you come into union with the world. I think there's this sense, at least I felt this sense of limitless, and to an extent you get this kind of mind over matter situation where you haven't eaten for, 20 days. Yeah, people do that. People go 20 days and not eating, you're fine. I think it's funny when people say, "Oh, you didn't eat lunch, you got to eat." It's like, man, you're going to be fine. Give it up. Anyway, whatever. Eating ain't bad, but we're a lot stronger than we think. That's my point there. But yeah, man, I again lost my train of thought. My bad. Trying to not get whooped too hard in this FIFA game here. Oh yeah, there's this sense of limitlessness. You hear me, miss? And I think there's something to that, I think, we feel real limited when there's a lot of chaos going around, because we know how much energy we got to put into all this chaos in order to organize it, bring order back to it. So then we just feel tired even thinking about it. But when you realize that it's all one, it's all connected, and you don't need to think so much. You just gotta get out of your own way and let the Lord work through you. Then you don't even have to do anything. It's already done. And then you're spending a lot less time worrying. And you're spending a lot more time doing. And when you do that, you experience that sense of limitlessness. And I think there's something to that, man, is that, it's just with inside a human, you ain't about to, power a city. Well, maybe you could. I mean, Kanye kind of did that, man. You hear his projects, man, really fueled not just one city, but many cities. Got them real fired up. He charged up a people with a song, You know, that was a while ago now, but I still listen to that and I still get charged up. And I think that's because he was tapping into the infinite source of energy that is the universe. So as humans, I think we have an interesting capacity to, you know, tap into that infinite source that's not one thing, but it's everything, which is, you can look at as one. The universe, man. One. Universe. Word. The one word of God. Om. Go home with the one word of God right now. And yeah, so Entropy is pretty cool. I don't know, watching videos on it. Let me know what you think. I'll probably get into this more. My dad actually knows what he's talking about, so definitely be getting into it with him. He's got some cool ideas. He likes to he'll bring up this idea. He's working on this idea now. You know, the universe is kind of like an entropy oscillator. You know, we're constantly going back and forth between different states of entropy or, you know, chaos and order. It's kind of this dance. And I resonate with that quite a bit. You know, you make a fire, turn that wood that was pretty orderly into some chaos of fire just to make some delicious soup, which is pretty good order. So chaos and order are constantly, you know, dancing with each other. And, you know, hopefully in a way that is flowing and not in a way that is choppy and too resistant. But sometimes it is, man. Sometimes a hurricane comes through and, you know, really breaks things up. Sometimes that river's really rushing. So it is kind of intense. It's not always smooth. But I think we can work to learn to live with those natural rhythms of chaos and order, and hopefully, you know, sometimes I like structure. It's an interesting thing. Another one of them divine paradoxes. I structure some chaos into my life, and I kind of feel like I'm, you know, letting the steam out a little bit in order for it to not boil over. For example, I'll you know, just be wanting to make a song, and instead of starting with order, I'll start with chaos, and I'll just be going in, and, you know, whether it's strumming real crazy or, you know, singing real crazy, and then that tends to lead into something that feels good. I'll find a rhythm within that chaos, and then I'll start riding that. So sometimes really the origin of order is chaos. I think a lot of times you think of magma, man. There's a lot of chaos going on, and, you know, most of the earth is just freaking magma, which I feel like we don't really talk about enough. But, you know, as it goes up, it hardens and takes form and finds some order. Yeah, so maybe everything comes out of chaos. I don't know. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed that. I hope y'all having a good day. It's a Sunday over here, and I'm just going to be doing some work on my pond and cutting up some wood, getting ready for the winter. Much love to y'all. Hope you're gumping out there. If you didn't listen to my last talk on gumption, you're gonna want to explore that, man. I think that was real nice. I never even took a deep dive on gumption like that, but now I've been gumping out ever since, and it's felt real good. Definitely a word we need to explore along with entropy. I didn't pull up the etymology of entropy today, but I think that was pretty good, you know, exploration of it. And I'll tune in with y'all soon, man. Peace out. Much love.
Open my heart, gotta cash my checks. Make a new wave like splish, splish, splash. Make a new waves like new motives to new day. I made this tune right in the nowhere. Who knew? New name, same thing. Equals say fractals in your mind.